Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks you all so much for taking time out of your schedule today to watch this live, or if you're watching this later on YouTube or some other platform, thanks for taking the time. Uh, as Valen indicated, myself and Stan are going to be going over what's new with Defender for Cloud for the past 3 months. And for anyone who's been living under a rock or doesn't keep up with Microsoft news, we just wrapped up Ignite, so we have a bunch of things that we want to show you all. Let's advance. So before we dig into the agenda, let's do some level setting on what Defender for Cloud is. And that is we're a cloud native application protection platform that is made up of security measures and practices that are designed to protect cloud-based applications from cyber threats and vulnerabilities. So Defender for Cloud combines the capabilities of a DevSecOps solution that unifies security management at the code level across multi-cloud and multi-pipeline environments. We're also a cloud security posture management solution to surface actions that you can take to help prevent breaches. We also have the cloud workload protection platform, so we can provide specific protections for servers, containers, storage, databases, as well as other workloads. And that does not matter if the workloads are in Azure, they can be on-prem, in AWS, and GCP. So, like always, we're going to structure today's presentation by looking at what's new with the cloud security posture management side of the house, and then switch over to the cloud workload protections. So I won't insult anybody's intelligence. Uh, here's what's new with the cloud, the security posture management side of the house. What we're going to do is just briefly step into a live environment and show you everything that we have. Switch screens. Ooh. So the first thing I wanted to show you all was the general availability of secret scanning. And so I like to first start at recommendations. And let's just filter down to secrets. And here you can see that we have 3 recommendations, one for Azure, one for EC2 instances, and then one for Google Cloud Compute instances. And I'm just going to hop into my EC2 instance. So now, thanks to our agentless scanning platform, we can scan these machines to tell if they have a secret on them. Obviously, secrets on machines are not the best idea. What you can do with this list is to start taking this, get to the, in this instance, the VM owners, and get them to remediate this. And they can remediate it by removing the secret, using something like a managed identity, or putting the secret into a key vault that is pulled when needed and not just stored on the machine. So here we can see, our remediation steps, the instance, the number of secrets found. We can see all of the affected resources. In this case, we just have one. We'll provide the file path where the secret was found, and then if there's any attack path instances. And so one of the things that we showed on that what's new slide is attack path analysis enhancements. It used to be that we had a hard-coded list of attack paths. And while that was a great first solution, it is not the most ideal in that we had to come up with every different permutation that an attacker could take through your environment, which requires us to have infinite knowledge beforehand. And so what we've done now is taken all of the things inside of the Microsoft Security Graph, plotted them, and we've come up with a way to automatically enumerate through the graph to find any attack paths that could exist. And so we'll just pivot back, boop, go back, go into our attack paths. and show you a quick example. So if we look at that same that same EC2 instance that we mentioned, we know that it is internet exposed, that it routes traffic to that, that NIC routes traffic to the AWS EC2 instance. Via the agentless secret scanning platform, we were able to identify an AWS RDS connection stream, and then that allows a individual to connect to the AWS RDS database. So we can assume that if the attacker were to exploit one of those high severity vulnerabilities, they would then subsequently have access to the database. And it's only a matter of time before the attacker realizes that themselves. The other nice thing about our new updates to the attack path analysis engine is that this has allowed us to have multi-cloud attack paths. So you can have an attack path that originates in Azure and then steps into either your GCP environment or your AWS environment. And with that, the other thing, our support for Defender CSPM in the GCP environment is now also generally available. And the last thing I wanted to show, or just quickly mention, was that our support for the CIS Azure Foundations 2.0 is now generally available. Customers who were using, say, an older version of CIS, one of the CIS frameworks, can migrate over to the 2.0, which has a bunch of new recommendations and mappings for you all to consume. And with that, I'll hand it over to Stan.
Thank you, Dick. Hello, everybody. It's super nice to be back. I love these attack path enhancements, honestly, and I know many customers already kind of embrace that. All right, let me share my screen to continue this presentation. So what I'm gonna, and please let me know when it's available.
Yeah, we can see Stan.
So I want to share a couple of news, something that we recently announced at Ignite. So now Defender for Cloud is integrated with some other solutions. Like, for example, the first one is that I want to talk about is an integration with Microsoft Enter Permission Management, which is a cloud infrastructure entitlement management solution that provides kind of comprehensive visibility into permissions assigned to various identities like users, service principals, and so on and so forth. And so it allows administrators to kind of ensure their least privileged access control for cloud resources across all three clouds, Azure, AWS, and GCP. Enter permission management requires licenses for workloads, which include any resources that uses compute and memory. It's a kind of standalone solution that customers can purchase. But with this integration with Defender for Cloud, we provide some capabilities of Enter permission management without requiring this additional license. So this integration requires Defender CSPM, though. So it's part of Defender CSPM offering, meaning that in order to get benefits of this integration and visibility provided by Enter permission management, you need to make sure that Defender CSPM plan is enabled for your subscriptions and the AWS or GCP connectors. So let's start with looking at how to enable this integration. So like I said, so this integration is part of Defender CSPM offering, meaning that you need to go to environment settings, find this Defender CSPM plan here, and make sure that under the settings, you have permission management enabled. So currently it's in public preview. So that's for Azure, and you need to do the similar exercise for AWS connectors or GCP connectors. Make sure that this extension is enabled, right? So under the AWS connector, as you can see here, there is an additional toggle here that you need to turn on. So once it's all enabled, so initial data collection and the recommendations generation normally takes up to 24 hours. And as the result, you'll be able to see 3 recommendations for Azure environments and 2 recommendations for both for AWS and GCP. So if we search for identities, so those recommendations can be found under Manage Access and Permission Control. And here you can see, for instance, unused identities. So that unused identities that are identities that haven't been seen for longer than 3 months. And obviously, you'll get a list of all those identities in your cloud environments. Obviously, unused identities, since they're not used, so there's a question: do they still need this access, right? So, and so you want to make sure that. So those people maybe already left the company. So from the least privilege and the identity kind of housekeeping perspective, you want to make sure that those access permissions are revoked. Another recommendation you can find here is Azure over provisioned identities. So over provisioned in this particular case means that the identities that are not using all the permissions they get assigned. For example, if someone has like the owner permission but only does some reader tasks, so that's obviously a case of over provisioned identities. So, and to make sure that you have like a least privilege approach, so you want to review those recommendations. Identities and make sure that they are right size configured. And again, so this is available for all 3 clouds. So the other integration that we just added is the integration with ServiceNow. And as most of you know, so that's probably one of the most commonly used solutions for ticketing, ITSM, and these kind of purposes. But so ServiceNow is a cloud-based workflow system that automates various enterprise business activities, including IT. And it's now integrated with Defender for Cloud, which enables our customers to connect ServiceNow to Defender for Cloud environment and prioritize remediation of recommendations. Today, Microsoft Defender for Cloud integrates with the ITSM model, which is incident management. And as part of this integration, customers can create ServiceNow tickets from Defender for Cloud. Let me show how to do that. So first of all, you need to connect your ServiceNow instance if you're a ServiceNow customer by going to the environment settings, and there is now you can actually see this new button, which calls integration. So this is where we're going to add some other integrations down the road. But today you can see you can find ServiceNow here. So you would need to provide your ServiceNow instance URL here and some credentials to access your instance of it. Once it's all configured, and you see it's ServiceNow integrated, status enabled. Now you can actually, so what you can do with this integration, you can basically go to recommendations. I'm going to pick just any random recommendation and just show you how to use this feature. Let's take diagnostic logs in logic apps should be enabled. I believe I already created one, but I will just show you the whole kind of process. So you already can see if there is any recommendation or resource that requires some attention has been assigned to someone, and this is the ticket ID. So, but the process is pretty simple. You just click, select the resources that you that needs remediation, and just create assignment button. And here as you can see here, there are two types of assignments. One is the Defender for Cloud, which uses our governance rules, and now ServiceNow. Once ServiceNow is connected, you can see the ServiceNow here, and you can basically decide what kind of assignment this is going to be. If this is an incident, or it's just a change request, or it's a problem. That's kind of three types that we currently support with this integration. Let's say this is a change request. And under the assignment details, you just can provide some short description or use the pre-populated based on the recommendation name. And you can set the deadline for that. So and and you can obviously optionally notify the owners of that resource and just click create. And this will generate a change request in my ServiceNow instance. And I can just click that, and this will take us to ServiceNow, where you can actually right away see a change request with all kind of additional information. So as part of this integration and the change request creation or incident details, we already kind of pre-populate information provided by Defender for Cloud. And obviously now we can just follow the your company's rules for of dealing with the tickets. That's as far as the ServiceNow integration. So please give it a shot. So share your feedback. So this integration, it also requires, it's part of the Defender CSPM offering again. So that's, you need to have Defender CSPM enabled. The next thing I wanted to talk about is our data security capabilities. All these features are now available, generally available, including the data security dashboard. The data security dashboard allows you to view your organization's data estate, let's call it, risks to sensitive data that potentially have been discovered, and just provide you some insights about your data resources. Like, for example, storage accounts exposed to the internet, or things like that, or databases exposed to the internet. So today, to kind of summarize our data security capabilities, so we support Azure storage accounts, AWS S3 buckets, GCP buckets, Azure managed SQL instances, and AWS RDS instances. So those are types of resources where we can scan and discover some sensitive content if there is any. And you'll be able to see the scan results in here in data security dashboards, and you can obviously drill down if you need to get more information on that and see some details. So again, generally available. Right. So let's see what we got on our list. Next. All right. So this concludes our CSPM part. Now let's switch gears to our cloud workload protection platform and see what we have new there. So first that I want to talk about is Defender for API, which is now also generally available. Defender for API, the APIs offers protection, detection, and response coverage for APIs. You can investigate, improve your API security posture, fix potential vulnerabilities and quickly detect some threats. So we use OWASP top 10 risks today. So Defender for API is one of the Defender for Cloud plans. So meaning that it needs to be enabled first. So that Defender for API. As you can see here, so like I mentioned, so this plan is now generally available, but we're going to start charging only in February. So meaning that you still have a month and a half to test this capability without being charged for that. Today, we only support Azure API management services. But once you enable that plan, so what Defender for API will do, it will start analyzing Azure API managed instances. And so you can see the results of Defender for API work by going to workload protections. And this is where you can find API security bleed. And as you can see here in our demo environment, we have 3 API management services onboarded with the 10 API collections and 85 endpoints. And so what this tells me, it actually tells me that I have a whole bunch of endpoints, and some of them are even inactive. And by going into any of these, you can get more information on every particular API endpoint and see how they're configured. Do they allow unauthenticated access, or they require authentication? You can see whether they're being used or not. So, meaning that if you have, for example, inactive APIs and no one used them for a period of time, so that's probably something you want to, remove this API if it's not used why it should be available. What we also actually do with API, the Defender for API, so we can also detect sensitive data that is being transferred as part of the API request and responses. For example, it might be a business application, totally legit. But if, for instance, if this API doesn't require authentication, and there is some sensitive content being transferred via this API, this might be a security risk. So, and we use 200 plus, I believe, something like that, sensitive info types provided by Microsoft classification engine to discover this sensitive content. Just think about credit card numbers, social security numbers, like you can see in my example here. What we also added as part of the general availability announcement at Ignite, we also added integration with Microsoft Purview, meaning that now we can, in addition to those 200 plus default sensitive info types, we can also discover custom info types if you have any configured, created in your Microsoft Purview instance. And we now also support labels, sensitivity labels that you might have in your Microsoft Purview environment. So, this capability is now also available in Defender for APIs. So check it out. Share your feedback as always. So what's next? Oh, so the next thing is our integration, Defender for Cloud integration with Microsoft 365 Defender, or it's more like the new name is Microsoft Defender XDR. So, but we sometimes still use the Microsoft 365 different term. But so so this integration actually allows brings comprehensive cloud protection capabilities into your SOC day-to-day work. And so now with this integration, you can see the complete attack story, for example, including now the cloud environments in Microsoft Defender XDR. So let me show you what you need to do. And actually, so this integration is available for Defender for Cloud customers. It doesn't require any additional plans or anything. So meaning all Defender for Cloud customers can use this integration today. But it requires some configuration. So basically, you need to allow the alerts flow from Defender for Cloud to Microsoft Defender XDR. And so you need to do that by going to your Microsoft Defender XDR portal, which is securitymicrosoft.com. Go into the settings section, and here you need to find this Microsoft Defender XDR. And here you just need to, under the alerts service settings, you need to allow the alerts flow. All right, so basically you just need to make sure that this integration is enabled, and you allow and you want to see all the MDC generated alerts in Microsoft Defender. So once it's enabled, you will start seeing Defender for Cloud alerts in the alerts view. So I generated a couple of attacks, if you will, in my Defender for Cloud environment. Basically, I just uploaded some malware to one of my storage accounts, which was detected by Defender for Storage. And as you can see here, so there are some malware-related alerts in Defender for Cloud. But now with this integration, I can also see these alerts in Microsoft Defender. And as the detection source, as you can see here, it's a Microsoft Defender for Storage, which one of the Defender for Cloud plans. And I can just click this alert and and learn more about that. So that's that. All this information provided by Defender for Cloud here, and also I can see some additional information about this cloud resource. As you can see here, now it says it's a cloud environment. This is an Azure resource. If it was like an AWS, you would have seen here that it's an AWS resource. So basically, with this integration, so we kind of complete the incident, I would say, that might include various types of resources. Could be endpoints, could be identities, and now with this integration, it's a cloud resource. So again, so this integration is currently in public preview. Please go ahead and take a look and share your feedback with us. So the next is going to be Dick telling us about some improvements in the container space and container security space. Dick?
Yep, just taking the screen. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention was that our Defender for Vulnerability Manager support for containers is now generally available. And so I've already gone to the recommendations blade, and I've pulled out all of those. Before anyone asks in the chat, what does Microsoft recommend as our vulnerability management solution, be it Qualys, be it Trivy, be it MDVM? Our answer is going to be MDVM. And the reason for that is It is the same solution that is used for your server instances, for your laptop solutions if you have MDE running, as now it can also support your container registries, whether it's in Azure, AWS, GCP. And so you can see here, and we can drill down and look at container images or our container registries themselves. So we're just going to quickly hop into the images. You'll see what are the unhealthy registries that we have, powered by MDVM, all of the list of all the CVEs and number of images that they apply to. And then we can just keep drilling down, go into here. This one has one unhealthy repo. And you can see all the way what CVE is applicable, whether it's critical, high, medium, or low, if a fix is available, if we know about it, the package name, what the fixed version was, what your current installed version is. And so this will help you to identify any vulnerabilities in your container registries or your container images, so you can then more quickly remediate those. The other thing that I wanted to show, which doesn't have a really great demo, but I'll at least get you to the point where you would need to enable it, is we now support the Azure Monitor Agent for Defender for SQL on machines. Previously, we had used the Microsoft Monitoring Agent, sometimes called the Log Analytics Agent, to be able to do our threat protections and our vulnerability assessments for your IaaS SQL instances. MMA is on a deprecation path. It will deprecate in August 2024. So we want to start encouraging you all to begin migrating over to Azure Monitor Agent. And this is explicitly for SQL instances. So if you go to your subscriptions, if you haven't done so already, just load. You'll see a little notification saying, hey, you can do this migration on your databases. It'll tell you action required, and you can go about enabling it. Want to be a bit prescriptive on it. So you have the option to either use a custom workspace, or you can just use a default workspace. And when you click enable for Azure Monitor Agent on SQL Server on machines, we will put the Azure Monitor Agent only on servers that have the SQL extension. So we don't put an agent on every box in your environment because you may not need that. So we specifically target SQL, we set up all of the appropriate DCRs, and everything begins to work. We do not uninstall the MMA agent for you, because to be honest, that would be quite risky of us and irresponsible, because we don't know what you're using that MMA agent for. You could have other applications or other services that need that, so we will not remove it for you. And the last thing I wanted to show, I believe it's been demoed a couple times already, so I'm going to be a bit quicker on this, is over in the security alerts. You can see that you can't see it, but it's there. The malware scanning for Azure storage accounts is now generally available. So you can click in there. And one other cool thing I wanted to show is we now start to let you know if a malicious blob was downloaded from a storage account. So we tell you when it goes in and when it was accessed. So you can hear one of my colleagues apparently uploaded an ICAR test file. ICAR is just a known, it's not malicious, but it's treated as malicious file. It was uploaded and you can see all of the metadata about it. And one of the nice things is if you have the sensitive scanning enabled for Defender for Storage or Defender CSPM, we're going to let you know if that contained any sensitivity labels, if you have the Purview integration, or if we've detected sensitive data. Because what we've seen is attackers are using storage accounts as a means to get their initial foothold, say upload malware, wait for people to accidentally download it, and then spread throughout their environment in that means. And let's move on. Okay, so that's all of the presentations and slides that we had. Some things I strongly encourage everyone doing is signing up for our monthly newsletter that Stan actually puts together on a monthly basis. You can join our public community, check out our blogs. If you watch this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, as well as check out our GitHub repo. Or if you want to help improve the Defender for Cloud product, join our private preview community so you can give us your feedback, your opinions, and that, we take those to heart, we work on those and help integrate it into the product. And with that, we go to Q&A time.
Thanks, Dick and Stan. Yeah, we do, although the team answered here bulk of the questions, we do have some outstanding. Where in Azure should security admins be assigned the security admin Azure role so they can see Defender for Cloud alerts for the entire tenant?
At your management groups.
That was an easy one. Moving forward. When you enable the AWS connector, does Arc auto deploy? And the following question is, I need Defender for Server on all AWS VMs.
Defender for Server for all AWS. So in the AWS connector experience, what you do is you go through, you validate your account ID on the first page. That second page that comes up, you have your option to enable Defender for Servers, the database protections, and some others. So I guess the person specifically cared about Defender for Servers, so they want to ensure that that is checked. When they proceed to the next screen, you're given a Cloud Foundry template, and that you take that and you run it in your AWS environment. And what that does is it ensures that we have the appropriate access to ensure that those Arc components are installed on the machines. So we handle the Arc, that Arc step for you.
Okay, thank you for that. The next one is, does the Microsoft Defender VM container scanning results being displayed in Defender for DevOps dashboard?
Sorry, repeat the question.
Does Microsoft Defender VM container scanning results being displayed in Defender for DevOps dashboard?
The container.
The short answer is no. So there is a dedicated recommendations for that. So they're kind of unrelated.
Okay, thank you, Stan. There's so there were two related scanning VM container issues, but they relate to one another. I'll move on to the next one. And where was the find secrets located? I see, Dick, you're already answering that one on text. Maybe you can, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can click back into it so the person can see it. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Give me a second. Share my screen again.
Okay.
Share. Oop. So the first place I went, you can find it. Yeah, you can use the search, just type secrets and it'll pop up. But it'll show up in the remediate vulnerabilities. So machines should have secret findings resolved.
Okay. Thank you for showing that again. And the next. Sorry, were you going to say something, Dick? Didn't mean to cut you off. Okay. The next one is, when I enable API security and it starts scanning request, how do I tell the tool to only scan for a certain number of sensitivity label types rather than the entire library?
Yeah, I can take this one, and let me share my screen. I will show you where you can actually decide what you want Defender Cloud to look for. So, and it's not just for the Defender APIs. It's actually related to all our sensitive data discovery capabilities for storage, for databases, and the APIs. So basically, you need to go to environment settings where you can find the data sensitivity button. So in here, you can see 5 categories of sensitive info types. Some of them, like at least the first 3 categories are going to be enabled by default, which includes like credit card numbers, banking accounts, and so on and so forth. And so this is where you want to kind of decide what you want to see, right? By unchecking what you don't care about, credentials or PII data, and so on and so forth. And also, if you enable integration with Microsoft Purview, you'll be able to see also the custom info types if you have any, right? For example, something that you've created, like reject expression, keywords, and stuff like that, and those sensitivity labels that I mentioned. So basically, we also kind of pull this information from your Microsoft Purview tenant, and you can basically decide what is the lowest sensitivity label you want to see in Defender for Cloud. Because by default, we enable something like 100 or so, and not everything is relevant to every organization, obviously.
Thank you, Stan. The following question is, when Defender for Server get rid of the dependency on AMA agents?
Yeah,
so
go ahead. This is a public webinar, so we cannot disclose our roadmap, but I can tell that. So we're kind of working in this direction. That's all I can tell.
Yep. Thank you, Stan, for that. And although we posted, there were other NDA related questions. So for deeper conversations and basically, if you want to be part of influencing our product designs, as well as getting early access to changes through private previews and learning about our product roadmaps, please join our private preview community. And that's the, let me actually share the link here once again. Okay, I am sharing it now. Okay, now let me see if there's more questions that just came in.
Yeah, there's one that I wanted to take real quick.
Yeah, please go for it.
So do we have a list of stories of what hackers are doing these days that we can share, or a list somewhere? Which is an interesting question. So I'm going to paste a link to that question, directing the individual over to the Mystic blogs, the Microsoft Threat Intelligence Center. That can be a great starting point and pivot around from there. Mystic is absolutely outstanding in what they find and what they publish. But the short answer is it would be an ever-growing list. Attackers are super resourceful, and they do things that typically we would say, well, no one would ever do that. They will. So that kind of ties back into that point about the attack paths that we made earlier. Instead of having a hard-coded list, we want to be able to automatically enumerate this graph so that we can find these weird scenarios that maybe you or I wouldn't think about. But an attacker, is going to try a bunch of different things in the hopes that he or she gets in.
Well, thank you for that, Dick. And I think we have concluded with all the questions. Anything else you would like to add, Stan, Dick? Okay, well then, I thank you for being here with us today and for sharing this great information with our community. Also, I would like to thank our SMEs here who were helping with answering the questions and providing these resourceful informations. And then again, to all the listeners still on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desires to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community, because together we can make a global impact. So please join us at aka.ms/security community. This is also where you'll find you'll be notified about the upcoming webinars, events, and other announcements. In there, you'll also find the private community links where you want to subscribe. And also at that, please take a minute submitting your webinar feedback at aka.ms/security webinar feedback. For those of you who may have additional questions on the topic that we just covered, or either questions related to the product itself, please feel free to raise them on Microsoft Tech Community Discussion Space, and that's located under the aka.ms/MDC community. Thank you all for being part of our community and for joining us on these webinars, and we hope to see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you.